the team lead for the Oklahoma Funding Accelerator. The Oklahoma Funding Accelerator is a little bit different than the projects you hear about tonight. Instead, we work one-on-one with local clients in the Tulsa and Oklahoma City metro areas to deliver specialized business consulting services to help their entrepreneurs. I've had the pleasure of working with 4 great team members over the semester: Eli, Joe, Matt, and Daniel. And over the last 14 weeks, we've bonded, we've come up with some pretty great puns, but most of all, we've been able to help make a direct impact in the entrepreneurial landscape of this great state. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my team.
Hi, I'm Matt Warner, an International Business and Entrepreneurship Senior from Columbus, Ohio.
My name is Joe Nguyen. I'm an Economics major from Oklahoma City.
I'm Daniel Cartwright. I'm a Finance Junior from Oklahoma City.
And I'm Eli Weathers, a Political Science, Finance, and Accounting major from Mineral Wells, Texas.
This semester, we've had the privilege of working with 4 unique clients across the state, which are Campstake, Killer Shot, Lucas Sustainable, and LifeSquire. We're happy with the impact we've been able to make with these, and happy that you get to share in this experience at the first time OA gets to formally present all of these in such a presentation. Speaking of shared experiences, Campstake is a social review site and blog which enables users to connect throughout the country to the outdoors through technology. Some of you may be familiar with the model of Yelp. Similarly, with Campstake, users can create a profile, log in, share their outdoor experiences at the specific campsites they've been to. For example, you could be at Grand Tetons National Park and say how campsite number 9 is way better than campsite number 10, and that they have Wi-Fi compatibility where you can log in and actually post this from there. So Campstake, in just a few matter of months, has been able to develop 1,400 users. Additionally, gained 2 gear partnerships through intense media efforts and social media, and is set to launch their digital platform May 3rd with the dubbed Footprint beta launch. My role with Campstake this semester has revolved around 3 distinct questions. How can they monetize the site and earn revenue? What is the market potential and how can they increase their share of it? And third, what investment potential is there and what criteria do they need to meet to get there? My emphasis on the presentation today is focusing on the first of these questions. Now, I've determined that ad revenue is the best source of income for Campstake at the moment. Having initially researched grant potential and the possibility to reserve campsites as a model, both of these were heavily saturated or just not very viable. So with ad revenue and comparing different competitors across the country shows that pay-per-click is the specific option for Campstake to make use of the users they have right now. At the 1,000 user threshold, it enables them to have these dedicated people that are already using this site as early adopters to click on ad revenue on the site with the current partners. Now, over time, they need to diversify these revenue streams as they can make better use of different advertising models, such as pay-per-impression and pay-per-action. This is better in the 50,000 to 500,000 user range, where these users are a much greater variety. You have the people that will casually use the site, just see the impressions, generating ad revenue, or you have the very dedicated users who see this as ones where they click on the advertisements on the site that might be for gear retailers associated with them, and they're actually perform an action on the site. Furthermore, as we approach 1 million user base, Campstake can increase their revenue by using brand advertising. This is where they've reached a national phenomenon, having such goods as Dick's Sporting Goods as advertisers. It connects with people across the country and focuses and shifts from a local shift in perspective to a national one. Now, I've developed a 5-year revenue model for Campstake, something that shows that in 5 years they can earn over $500,000 in revenue. However, this comes with key stipulations which Campstake has to meet in order to be successful. First of which being 20% growth rate per month for the first 3 years. Now, this sounds very ambitious. However, one of the goals of Campstake is to eventually reach investment. And to do this, they need to eventually have millions of dollars worth of valuation. And they need to do this early with their user base. Furthermore, we understand that this model isn't conducive over time. So we're projecting a 10% growth rate for years 4 and 5. Additionally, they need a 100% fill rate on the site, filling complete ad space so they can fully reach their market potential and make sure all the ads are being utilized effectively. Furthermore, there's an option that they'll launch with beta with the mobile site. This is something that's critical as people will be out at campsites using their phones, logging in, and while you're out there, they're not always Wi-Fi compatible or data friendly. So some of the users that will view these advertisements won't be able to get the full experience, and that's limited at 75%. Lastly, 10% of these users are considered dedicated users, the ones who might serve as brand ambassadors for the site. These people are on the site 400 minutes per year, about 20 minutes per week, up to 5 months. These are the people that really participate in the pay-per-action method, where they're going on, clicking on these advertisements and pursuing an action. This is something that's very limited and requires a really intense user base, so it's fairly limited at the 10%. Now, in addition to this model, I provided Campstake with key deliverables that help them move forward as a business. First of which being market research, which shows that the South Central United States is a perfect launch for them to start the company. Additionally, look into specific demographics such as the Hispanic market, where the competitors haven't even launched yet. Furthermore, I've analyzed budget data and state park metrics for 15 different state parks in the area. These serve as not only potential partners, but also potential advertisers on the site, and show that as most campers are going to these state parks to camp, it's the best way to reach their user base as well. Lastly, I've come up with 5 angel investment opportunities and partnerships in the local area for Campstake. This is vital because Campstake not only needs investors, but needs mentors, and the people locally can best do that. In working with one of our mentors here at CCEW in financial matters, he recommended first pursuing angel investment at the low stage that Campstake is in. And this brief little timeline here shows the key metrics Campstake needs to hit immediately, such as making sure they're initially targeting the market and building up this user base and launching their mobile platform. Now, I've had a great time enjoying my experience working with Campstake, but to show how he's absolutely killing it with his client, allow me to bring up Nguyen.
Thank you, Matt. For this semester, I had the pleasure of KillerShot is an online store that focuses on selling GoPro cameras and accessories. They're based in Tulsa, and they have currently 150 products on their website. One of the products is the Go Swivel. The Go Swivel is a proprietary creation. And what it is essentially is a helmet with a 360-degree pole with a GoPro camera at the end of it. So if you can imagine you're snowboarding in Colorado, the Go Swivel is designed to capture your best action sequences. For this semester as an intern, I am tasked with finding these 3 big questions. 1, why are sales declining? 2, how can we improve their current strategy? 3, what new ways can we find in revenue? And the focus of this presentation is question 2. As a part of my workflow, I want to see how I can restructure KillerShot's lineup. By looking at your sales data, I want to see which products are your best performing and which products are the worst performing. And in my analysis, I found that the majority of KillerShot's products are underselling, which is indicative of low demand. On the other side, KillerShot are its proprietary products with the highest volume sold as well as the highest profit margins. As a recommendation for KillerShot, I recommend KillerShot cut some of its low-performing products in order to improve working capital, improve its inventory space, increase its operational efficiency, and decrease its overhead. As a second recommendation, I want KillerShot to emphasize its proprietary products. So KillerShot focuses on products that it sells best. Looking to KillerShot's SEO, I want to see what KillerShot can be doing at its potential. Using KillerShot's main competitor, GoPull, I use GoPull's estimated traffic to see where KillerShot can be. And at a minimum, KillerShot must be doing 10 times what it is doing now to reach its goal. If they're able to reach these target metrics, it would gain about $1.4 billion a year. Their current revenue figure of $170,000. In addition to my product mix adjustment, I've also provided KillerShot other tools for success, mainly centered around SEO and social media to guide their future content marketing campaign, as well as a survey platform solution. The plan here on out is for KillerShot to distribute a survey, analyze that survey, and in a few months, pivot their current content marketing strategy with the improved analytics. With all the tools and information at KillerShot's disposal, KillerShot is in a position for success. And I'll hand it off to Daniel Cartwright, who's going to tell you what's up in Poto, Oklahoma.
Thank you, Joe. Imagine with me for a minute a neighborhood in which your neighbors are close and close by. A true community that's designed to recall simpler times and literally built around friendly conversations at the mailbox. This is the dream of Larry Lucas, an architect turned developer and the director and founder of Lucas Sustainable. Larry wants to build this pocket neighborhood in Poto, Oklahoma, because he already owns 15 acres of land there, and because he wants to give back to his childhood home by revitalizing the housing scene. My job is to answer the big questions surrounding the project, namely, is it profitable, which is the focus of this presentation. My work has already helped Larry move very far towards his goal, and moving forward, it'll give him the tools he needs for future success. In analyzing this question of profitability, I built out a financial model based off of customer surveys, market comparisons, and conversations with bankers, builders, and realtors in Podo. And based on the model, it shows that Lucas Sustainable will profit $700,000 with a margin of 15%. This model is based off several assumptions, and the average home sale period as well as the price per square foot are based off market comparisons to homes of a similar quality and price, or quality and size, excuse me. As well as the cost per square foot at $90 reflects the quality of materials that Larry plans to use when he builds. For example, granite countertops, wood floors, custom kitchen finishings. The project will last 4 years, and construction will be divided into 5 phases, with the first phase being the next 3 phases being 5 homes each, with floor plans ranging from 1,200 to 2,000 square feet, and the final phase being 3 homes for a total of 20. Lucas Sustainable needs $1.3 million to cover the cost of construction up front, and will likely obtain this money from a local bank. All loans will be repaid by phase 4. Another key assumption underlying the financial model is looking into whether people in Podo would be interested in this concept and would be able to afford it. This was guided by 2 hypotheses, that people in Podo are looking for homes that cost around $100,000 and for homes in a higher range, about $175,000 to $225,000. With this in mind and the fact that people can typically afford a home 2.5 times their current income, I took a look at the household income distribution data in Podo and found that 52% of households can afford a home that costs around $100,000, while 11% of households can afford a home in the upper range. Now, the model revealed that this lower range just isn't sustainable for the project, because pricing homes these low just does not recover construction costs. So I recommended Larry to price homes in the upper range for a variety of reasons. Firstly, the model supports this, but also there's relatively few structures on the market currently, indicating a market need. As well as this is an ideal price range for one of our key customer segments, downsizing retirees. Moving forward, I've given Larry the tools he needs to achieve future success in this project. The financial model will allow him to project his profitability in the face of changing cost estimates as he receives builds from different builders. The market analysis summary and the investor pitch will allow Larry to show the preparation that he's made and demonstrate that to people when he goes to lenders for potential financing to obtain the financing for the future of his project. Now, Larry and I were actually just in Podo last weekend speaking with some of the potential customers of the project, and their enthusiasm for this concept, for these homes, is what's gotten us even more excited to be a part of this awesome project. And with that, I'll turn it over to Eli Weathers, who's having the time of his life working with LifeSquire.
Thank you, Daniel. Recall with me, if you will, waking up on a Saturday morning, pumped for that weekend road trip, only to find an unwashed and messy car. Or maybe getting home from work on Friday afternoon, only to find out that you didn't have time to shop for that Friday dinner party. Enter LifeSquire. LifeSquire was established in Oklahoma City in 2010 and currently operates with over 60 clients and 30 employees. Last year alone, LifeSquire had over $1 million in revenue. My work this semester has been focused on helping LifeSquire franchise. LifeSquire has asked me to answer 3 main questions: where and what markets to franchise into, who to find as potential franchisees, and where to target these franchisees. We begin with initial factors: driving distance from OKC, the owner's background, as well as a good business climate. We tested 5 markets in this region: Kansas City, Little Rock, Arkansas, Dallas-Fort Worth, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Austin, Texas. We figured out, using these initial factors, that DFW is a place to be for LifeSquire to initially franchise into. 1, because it has only 3.5 hours of driving distance from OKC, as well as the owner of LifeSquire already has 5+ years of personal assistance experience in that market. And Forbes ranks Dallas-Fort Worth as one of the top 10 places to start a business and a career. We also conducted a competitor analysis of the DFW market and found that the LifeSquire's value propositions of matching one client with one employee, as well as a comprehensive insurance policy, the only of its kind in the industry, situate it well to be in the DFW market. Furthermore, knowing that LifeSquire's targeted market segment is high income earners, we wanted to use income metrics to find which 3 submarkets LifeSquire would fit into in the DFW overall market. Using medium income level, high percentage of income earners, as described as making over $250,000 a year, as well as income growth since 2000, we found that Plano, Southlake, and University Park are the 3 recommended submarkets within that DFW market for LifeSquire to initially franchise. Building a 3-year financial model, we figured out that LifeSquire can make over $276,000 within 3 years. That begins with a $25,000 initial investment from all 3 franchisees, as well as an 8% royalty income from that revenue in each year. The assumptions along with this model are that each franchise will gain 5 clients per year. Now, this is a conservative estimate because in Oklahoma City, LifeSquire has already gained 60 clients in just 5 years. The other assumption is we use 8% as the royalty income from each franchise revenue because LifeSquire has already established that in their franchising documents. We multiplied this 8% times an average of their packages at $28,000 to come up with the royalty income and overall $276,000 worth of revenue in 3 years. In addition to this DFW specific recommendation in this framework, we've also given LifeSquire a framework to target these potential franchisees, a specific DFW recommendation of submarkets, as well as a specific action plan for targeting these franchisees in the DFW market. This begins with attending small business expos in the DFW area, such as the Ultimate Women's Expo that targets female entrepreneurs and fulfills LifeSquire's mission to empower women and give them their own business, as well as initiating these franchises in the fall in these 3 submarkets. Over the next 5 months, LifeSquire will also evaluate and extrapolate the results that they will get from their beta testing sites in Edmond and Norman, and be working with these hypotheses that we have established as the key metrics to finding out if LifeSquire can successfully franchise in a given market. This semester, each one of us has had the opportunity to work one-on-one with a local entrepreneur. It began in January with initial client meetings, and through personal relationships, we have gotten to give each entrepreneur key deliverables that have added value to their business and taken it to the next level. We're excited to see how these companies will grow and are assured that our recommendations will fulfill CCEW's core mission of adding economic value to the state of Oklahoma. Thank you for listening, and we'll now open up the floor. That's a great question. There's a long list of about 60 or 75 things that LifeSquire can do. They range from event planning to picking up your kids at school, to answering emails, to organizing your closet, to washing your car, to going grocery shopping. Their mission is to give people their weekends back. So it's taking things that people don't have the time to do or are too busy to do and getting them done for them.
Is it like a franchise personal assistant?
Yes, ma'am. But you'd be working through the company. The assistant would be working through the company, not on a contract service.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Warren, do you believe that bringing the technology you're proposing to the great outdoors, offering the experience of the great outdoors in ways to be approved by Theodore Roosevelt, founder of our national park?
I think Theodore Roosevelt was disappointed that the country didn't have awareness of the state parks and the beauty that it possessed. What Campstake does is provide insight into the experiences that people have, especially to the younger generations that are missing out and seeing just the world through their phones. This motivates people to not only see what people are doing, but to get out there, because you can't have these same experiences like everyone else unless you're actually doing it. So I like to think that Roosevelt likes to see that it motivates people to get outdoors and then share these experiences on the way back to plan the next trip. Sure. So specifically, Brandon, the CEO that I've been working with, and his team have exquisite marketing background. That's actually why I helped a lot developing the business behind the scenes, because that's some of their weak areas. So already they've been working on developing social media presence. Actually, right now, during the break, if you'd like to tweet at #CampChat, it'll be going on. What I've been doing is identifying where they can expand, because many of their competitors launched initially with all types of outdoor activities. And I wanted to see if this was actually the best way to go. So right now, my recommendation for Camp's sake was to focus on camping as the market really developed campers and this social site where people go to. From there, move not only into certain demographics, such as the Hispanic market, which is looking for price-sensitive activities where they can go with the whole family, but also first expand into outdoor activities such as hiking. Reason being is this requires a low gear input for cost, as well as 76% of all campers associate hiking with camping. This is an activity they participate in regularly. So moving forward, having key people that they're looking into to promote the site to, as well as certain activities, kind of sets them apart for competition and enables success.
I have a question for Joe and Killshot. On that pie chart that you were showing, there were, I believe it was 116 different products that have very low purchase point or frequency, if you will. But I noticed that you recommended only cutting about 16 of those. Could you clarify why that wasn't perhaps a little bit, maybe that was a typo, 116 or something like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. In my analysis, I used the metrics of how many products they sold in the past year, and those 16 products have sold less than 2 in the past year. That's why I chose those.
Would it be financially advisable to cut even more? It seems to me like if they're only selling very low as far as your categorizing, it might make sense to cut also.
Well, as a recommendation for Andrew, I wanted them to cut some a little bit at a time, not so drastically, because people might want this product later on.
We'll take one more question from Mel. This is a question for Campstick. So right now the National Park is going through a lot of find the park and instant eat, like that kind of thing. So definitely an audience for this. But how do you evolve about reaching out to the National Park system, or is that just too big right now?
Yeah, so actually, the initial research of mine was focusing on national parks versus state parks because they wanted to see if there's a potential option. They actually are developing, it's probably the second or third stage of the development, with a passport program that's very similar to what is used analog with the national parks. And so moving forward, it's just a lot more red tape, and you have to implement on a national scale. So we want to boost up our user base to show that we can compete and are worthy of national park attention.